all the world.
Okay, first time doing something like this. Not sure if it's going to work, but had an inquiry on my SDR site regarding a dongle that wouldn't work on SDR Console, which we have open at the moment. When you open it up, I actually don't have a dongle plugged in to the computer at the moment, but when you if you try and start, it will tell you you'd have no SDR definitions, and you have to create a radio definition, and you need to search, and obviously if you're looking at it or for a RTL dongle, you select USB, because we're not coming in over TCP, we're not coming in remotely. So we click that. Okay, no were found, which is fair enough because we don't have one plugged in. Okay, just plugged in the mini SDR that I have, little toy one, $10 Chinese thing. So if we go select radio, okay, it tells us we have we haven't defined it, and we just have to do a search, going back to the RTL dongle USB, and one device found, and we have no definitions for this, so we add it to the list, and there it is there, highlighted. So we go save, then it opens up select the radio. You just highlight that. The bandwidth, I usually use 1 MHz because I'm just looking at the CB band, which is about half a meg, which covers it, and hit start. And there it is. Oh well, alright. And you just put the channel. Now, there's nothing there because, hold on, sound. Okay. At the moment, we've got the HF mode set in phase from a previous setting, but it should be none. Okay, once you do that, then you can see what's out there on the frequency. Now, drag it up a bit. It actually goes to the TV antenna, which obviously is not going to pick up 27 megs very well. Now the visual gain, I usually have it at 0 or maybe 5. It doesn't actually increase the gain, it's just the visual gain. The gain on automatic is for VHF plus. I'm not on HF, so on HF I usually just crank it up to the most, like that. We'll knock the visual gain back to there, which it defines where it probably should be with a little star. Obviously that's wrong, so you hold on, because this dongle will not receive above, or sorry, below 25 megahertz. It'll only receive from 25 up. Okay, bias T is off because that should never be on unless you actually use it and know what it is. If you don't know what it is, leave it off. AGC, I don't know, I usually turn it on. You can, it works better. Now the other important item is all dongles probably need to be calibrated. This one has 0 parts per million, and that's not correct. This small dongle actually needs 270 to actually be on frequency. My RTL SDR Dongle is 0 and it's spot on frequency. My other DVB-T TV type dongle actually needs to be on 32. So yeah, this one needs to be about 270 to receive correctly what is defined on the screen, on the waterfall and the display. So once you set that, to be honest, to set that I normally go to channel 35, 27355, listen to everyone talking and adjust it, because majority of people out there are pretty much dead on frequency, and if that's what you're listening to, and you need to just set it to where it sounds best for you, and that's probably near enough is good enough, to be honest. So we'll close that, and yeah, the volume there. And what I like about console is it actually has squelch for AM SSB, because you can set the point where you want the squelch to be, and then if a signal comes through on skip or something and it's reasonable level, it will open up this squelch, and you'll hear it at the preset volume level. I always have it on, AGC fast. The IF display, I always have that turned on because that's quite valuable, and you can reset the IF. If there's a noise peak near the edge, you can just pull it in to get rid of it, so you can hear the information, the frequency a bit better. Yeah, so the mode of course is set here, and yeah, that's the band, the width, which you can set, which I usually have about 2.4 kilohertz. Noise blanker is very rarely needed. Noise reduction though is a different story. I play around with all these. I usually use this one on high or this one around there, but you adjust it to what you think is good and compare it by just turning it off. Those settings all stay the same. The notch, yeah, sometimes I have that going depending on what I'm listening to, but if we actually have a look and go to up here somewhere around the air band, and we go to the relevant well, it's not narrow FM up around 127 air band. It has to be AM. Okay, so you can select by hitting this here, or bring this up, and you can select the ones that you want to be able to see in here and select easily and quickly. I usually just tick them all actually, because I flick around between them sometimes depending on what I'm listening to. and go OK, and then you can see you've got all those relevant choices. AM, of course, is where we want to be on airband, of course the squelch will also work, so we'll turn that off because it works on AM and SSB. So we can just see if we can find something in here. Bit of noise, few noise peaks in there. Yeah, if you roll your mouse wheel, you can scroll around and what have you. As I mentioned before, you might be on the frequency there and you got this noise peak in there. You can just grab here and just narrow it, you can adjust it. That's quite a powerful feature of console. One of the reasons I like it so much. And also you can set multiple receivers, which you can have all allowing you to listen to the multiple receivers that you've defined with all their different settings in each receiver. So that's another powerful thing that nothing else, well, there's probably other things that have it, but one thing I like about console. Now, I'm not actually hearing too much here. What am I hearing? Turn the scanner on, see where it's stopping, and we'll go to the frequency. I've got the local frequency for the airband. Here it is, 132 to 200. 132 200. And you should possibly hear something in there, but generally radio configuration, you can set the frequency calibration. Not sure why that says none when I cranked it up before. Because obviously if we set 132 200 it won't be where it is. So I'll just go, don't muck around in here. Okay, we're in, you got HF mode here, the quadrature, which I usually use on the SDR RTL SDR V3 dongle to listen to HF below 25 megahertz. So offset, no, don't worry about that. IQ correction, don't worry about that. So frequency calibration is the most important. It's about 272 actually, I think. We'll see. This is, I suppose, another way you can calibrate that part per million if you go to an airband frequency. 132, I've got it on the scanner. I can't see it in here. Oh, wait a minute, it must have been there. So, yeah, we're quite a... not sure why we're out of whack. Yeah. Yep. And there's somebody there as well. Yeah, so the trick is to go to where you know where it's supposed to, it's 200. So if I go to 200, that's the actual setting, but obviously it's this much out of whack. So we open up the calibration and we adjust it. Well, say I'm pulling it across, while they were transmitting, where I could see the signal. There it is there. So I just keep pulling it down. You go plus or minus depending on which way you need to move it. And if these guys, this is a pretty well used frequency in this area. I even, as I say, get it on my TV antenna. So of course, you know, you got the aircraft in the sky, and the signal on VHF go for hundreds of miles. I have them out in the shed. Yeah, we're not getting any action on 132.200, so I can fine tune it. But that's the best way to do it. Go to somewhere that you know, where you want to listen to, and then just set it on the frequency and see the signal coming up on the waterfall or the display, and just adjust this while it's obvious where it should be. If you're using this as a separate receiver to see where the signal, oh, there we are. Yeah, watch over here. This sets it up spot on, right? This line here needs to be spot on there, and you've got some very fine control here to set it up precisely on the frequency. Might be a few hertz out, but it probably won't matter. There we go. Oh no, I'm going the wrong way now. That one. You have to keep clicking, you can't just hold it down. Whoops, bit too far. Too far. Alright. You can possibly hear the scanner going in the background. But anyway, you get the picture regarding that. Previous, select the previous. It's good that when you hover over something, it actually will display, you know, the. That's funny. I can see it. I can see it on the screen of the PC I'm using, but on the external screen that I actually have the software that I'm recording with, it's not actually showing the drop downs. Usually when you're in the software, you'll see, you hover over these and it has drop downs that tell you what they actually are. I was going to say before, the auto mute is very handy feature also if you're using an SDR to receive a bandwidth of say 27 megahertz, and you want to talk to somebody, if something comes up, so you look at the frequency on here, and then you turn your radio to the channel, and of course as soon as you transmit, you blow this out of the water, because you can't, you know, unless you stop this all the time. But if you set up this auto mute, which it tells you how to do it, it will cut out the SDR from getting whacked with the signal that you're putting out from an antenna that's probably fairly close to your SDR antenna. At the moment I'm working on a way to actually extract the SDR signal from my CB radio via the IF, and it will then automatically cut out. So I am working on that at the moment. I have an initial video up on YouTube about that. So if you look at CQDX11.com, there is an article there listed on the front page about setting up your SDR to get the IF of the CB radio or radio that you're using. I have actually done this on my Icom IC-701A, and it has a PAN adapter out, and I'm just plugged the Console RTL SDR V3 Dongle into the back of the Icom, into the PAN adapter out, and that actually displays the whole band of, say, whatever I'm listening to on HF, which is usually 40 meters or 20 meters or something, and I can see where the action is, and I can tune to it on the SDR, or if I go to the IF out frequency, I can tune to it using the dial on the Icom. So yeah, this is getting too long, and I'm slightly off frequency still there, but that's getting close. But yeah, hopefully that'll explain a few things that you might want to use on or sort out running an SDR on Console 3.
All the world